Hey everybody, this is Johnny Fox Pizza Guy. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we have another interview, this time with a director, Mr. Silcott. And I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on your channel. It's an honor to have me on your channel. So thank you for that. My name is Cordell Scott. I'm a film director here in South Florida, and I'm originally from the Virgin Islands, and I moved to the States when I was about your age, as a matter of fact, about 12, 11, 12. And I made my way down to Florida. I've been here for better part of 30 years here living in South Florida. And I do film directing, producing, and also editing.
Okay, Mr. Silcott. So, my first question for you is what is it about directing that appeals to you?
Well, first of all, my passion for it is I love to put things into, well, have a vision in my head and then actually bring it out and put things into motion. So everything that goes into making a film and putting it into motion, I just love to see that all come together. So it's a really great thing when you have a vision in your head and you are able to bring it out and explain it to other people and they can understand it, and then you put it on some sort of a media where you can show it back to people and they kind of get to see what's inside your head, because you're the only person that can see what's inside your head, right? But to be able to bring that out to people and they get it, it's a really great thing. So
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about the movies that you made throughout the years?
sure. Well, actually, my first film that I did is a short film called "Honey, Please Take Out the Trash," and that is a film based on domestic violence, but not the way that you may think. Because when people hear about domestic violence, they always think that it's a guy who is aggressive against a woman. But in this case, it's the reverse, okay? Because that does happen as well. And so in that movie, the, the woman was the aggressor. The guy ends up defending himself because of what she was doing to him physically, and uh, she ends up calling the cops to get him in trouble. But when the story was told, the cops realized that, oh no, she was the aggressor, so she actually ends up the one going to jail. So it's kind of reverse. So just want everybody to know that domestic violence doesn't always mean that it's always the guy who's aggressive against the woman.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. So, have you ever acted in any
Uh-huh.
movies?
Not anything that I've put out. I've just done practice stuff for myself, but nothing that I've officially put out or I've been in that is actually out. Maybe one day. Who
Okay. If you can choose any actor in the whole world, dead or alive, who would you work with?
knows? Wow. There's just I can't think of just one. I there's several I can think of. Sidney Poitier, Harry Belafonte, Halle Berry, Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman. There's a lot of great actors out there, but those are a couple of ones that come to mind right off the top of my head.
Hmm. Okay. So, what kind of an impact do you want your films to have on the world and why?
Well, I think that the impact I want people to have is that there are stories out there to be told. There's story, like everyone has a story that can be told, and not everyone hears those stories. So in our films, there's always like a message, okay, like a do good message. So not everything is as it may seem when you first see it. So you've got to really get into the story and find out exactly, why the situation, came to be. So, I want people to walk away with, the message that, not everything is always what it seems when you first see it.
Hmm. Got it. So, what are a few things that motivate you to keep doing what you do?
Well, like I said before, my passion for it is is something that I've always had since I was a little kid. One of my older sisters, she was, she saw vision in me and knew that I had the ability to do certain things. She always told me that I was gonna be like some business guy, and I could always put things in motion and watch them work. And so she put a camera in my hand, and ever since I've just loved the camera. And I've been taking pictures, like I said, since I was probably your age. And I took film directing seriously about 10 years ago when someone asked me to direct a film for them. And I also did my own film. So, my passion for it really keeps me going. And also meeting a lot of different people, a lot of different actors and producers and other directors and the camera crew. We can't do any of this by ourselves. So to see a lot of these people come together, is really awesome, awesome thing. So that, that keeps me going. So, uh,
Mm.
so the wind is in my eye and it's keep making me. Anyways,
All right. So, who's your favorite artist in the music industry?
ooh. Well, it's funny you ask that question because I'm a musician as well. So I've been playing since I was about 8. I started out with piano and I moved to guitar, bass, and drums. I play 4 instruments. So to say I have a favorite, it's really hard for me to pick one. But the people that inspire me are artists like Lionel Richie, Gladys Knight, Patti LaBelle, Aretha Franklin. Those guys are some of my inspirations. And I think you asked what favorite song. Well, from Lionel Richie, I gotta say it's the song "Easy." From people like Patti LaBelle as well. If only you knew. Gladys Knight, definitely Midnight Train to Georgia. And who else did I mention? Aretha Franklin. Oh, there's so many of her. I can't even pick like just one, but she does a version of Bridge Over Troubled Water that is so soulful that every time I hear it, everything has to stop and I have to listen to that song.
Mm, got it. Got it. So, what are some of your hobbies that you like to do in your free time?
Hobbies. Well, playing my guitar is one of them. The guitar is an instrument that you hold and you become one with it. And so I like to do that a lot. Uh, and also, I, I like to play golf, like to play sports. So those are some of my hobbies. Fishing, which I don't get to do a lot, but that's something that I like to do.
Mm, got it.
Mhm.
Speaking of fishing, have you ever gone fishing in this lake?
No, I have not. But maybe one day. I don't even know if they allow it here, but
Mm. Yeah, there's like a deck over there, I think. So,
yeah.
okay. So, did you grow up with video games in your childhood?
I did. I grew up with video games, not in my early life, but I would say when I was about, you said your age, 11, 12. um, I played video games. I remember when the first Atari came. I don't know. I don't even know if you know what Atari is,
I
but
do.
okay. So I was around when the first Atari came out, and Sega, Nintendo, all these early game systems, all the way up to the last console game I probably was into was Halo, and
Mm,
that's one of my favorite ones.
mm, okay. Were there any other professions that you wanted to pursue besides this career?
Great question. Yes. So as I told you before, I grew up in the Virgin Islands, and we grew up near the airport there. And um, my brother and I, we used to sit on the roof of our house and watch the planes take off. We couldn't see them land because where they landed was way on the other side, but we could see them take off. And so we used to play this little game where one of us would close our eyes and the plane would take off, and we'd guess what type of plane it was or what airline was flying it. And 9 times out of 10, we were spot on. So my dream job was to be a pilot, actually, and I did take lessons in 1995 back in Massachusetts, where I moved to when I left the islands. And so I flew for a bit there, taking lessons, and I came down here, and I actually flew a few times out of airport, not too far from here, North Perry Airport. But then I stopped because I wanted to, well, for a couple of reasons. A friend of mine, unfortunately, he was an instructor, and his plane went down one day, and he didn't make it. And I figured, I have kids, and so let me take a break from that so I can make sure I'm around for my kids. So, but one day, I hope to get back to it, at least to get a private pilot's license.
Got it. So, what is your message to the world?
Oh, peace and love. First of all, peace and love. There's a lot of things going on in the world, a lot of violence, unnecessary violence going on in the world. Um, things that when I was a kid I didn't have to grow up with, but you have to grow up with these days. Like for example, you have these code red drills in your schools. We didn't have to grow up with that because no one even dared thought of bringing guns or weapons into school when I was in school. So, and a lot of it is really unnecessary. You know, um, just because someone says something to you doesn't mean you have to get upset to the point where you're gonna go and harm them. So, I think that you know, peace and love. It's something that we should all look at because again, a lot of this stuff is just unnecessary. Okay, getting upset is a choice. Okay, and just because someone says something to you doesn't mean you have to go do something back to them. Okay, think about it first and think about the impact that you might have on that person and their families because there's so many people that are affected when you do something to someone else that's irreversible. You affect their parents or their children, their cousins, their aunts, their friends, their loved ones. You affect a whole lot of people. So really think about that when you think about harming someone. And the other thing is, always follow your passion. Okay, always follow your passion. If you have something that you're passionate about, follow it. You never know where it might take
Okay. So that was my last question for you, and I want to thank you for coming out here, Mr. Silcott,
you. Sure.
and uh, thank you for your time.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. Like I said, it's an honor to be here on our Johnny Five Pizza Guy show. Really appreciate it, and I'm proud of you for doing what you're doing. And I wish you a lot of success. And hey, maybe one day I'll get to have you in one of my films.
Hmm, okay, I'd be welcome to that.
All right. Awesome.
All right. Um, so that is our ending for today, and I will see you next video. And stay cheesy.